Good morning, everybody. We are live on Facebook with Abel Marketing. It's our weekly Monday 10 a.m. Facebook Live. My name is Ben Abel from Abel Marketing, and I've taken a little different tactic in the last few weeks with Abel Marketing and Facebook Lives, and I'm pleased and honored to welcome a guest, a friend, and a coach of mine, Mr. Marshall Stern from Sandbox Graphic and Design, and the Marshall Stern. What is the actual name? I have it written down for coaching and leadership.
Well, the legal name is Marshall Stern Leadership.
Okay. And you can see the giant leadership sign in the background. So that should probably tell you a few things. So thanks, Marshall, for doing this. So I have a list of questions, but we're going to do some ad lib stuff. I don't think we're going to talk about squirrels this morning, though, although we probably should.
I had rabbits. I had rabbits.
You had rabbits? Are they as distracting as squirrels?
They are.
They are.
Maybe
okay.
Not. Squirrels are number one.
Squirrels are okay. So first question, pretty easy one to start. How long ago did you start Marshall Stern Leadership? I'd read 9 years ago. Maybe a little bit more in the question too, not only the how, but as we always talk about your why of why you decided to do that.
That's a great question. First of all, thank you for having me here.
You're welcome.
It's great to be on this side.
Yeah, usually you're on the other side.
So yeah, no, now it's been, what are we in, 2022? So now I have to update that where we saw the 9 years. So now it's 11 years. What was the other? The why? Oh, why? The why.
Yeah, so like it's just sort of like an introductory. How long ago did you start the leadership program, and why did you start it? Because we know about I know about you and your background from, Connect and Collaborate. I'll take a moment to plug that as well in a bit. But, because you talked about your extensive business experience, running a small business, all your challenges, what led you to want to, take the next step? Because it's a totally different thing than a sign and graphics business, right? I mean, it's not,
Yeah. Well, that's what led me to it. Like you said it. It's the challenges, the struggles I've had. I still have my sign and graphics business.
Okay.
And so we're in our 28th year.
Oh, wow.
It's funny, I always try to age myself. We're in the minute I'm 27, it's like in my 28th year. My wife makes fun of me when I do that. It's like, oh, I'm in my 55th year. And I'm not even 55. Anyways, whatever. I just aged myself. So listen, here's the thing. I started coaching, training around leadership and just coaching business owners and mentoring business owners. I started back in 2011. And the reason I did that was because of a lot of the challenges that I had, not just myself, but even because I'm in a B2B space. So with Sandbox, we deal with other businesses, some small, some large, and some medium. And I honestly, over the years, because we started in 94 and I've been through some recessions, now obviously the pandemic, we've seen businesses go out of business, like start up and close down. And I started getting frustrated seeing this. And basically, it sounds maybe cliche-ish, but I wanted to make a difference. I learned a lot along the way with my own challenges, and I just wanted to get in there and just help the small business owner avoid a lot of the things that I went through and that I see other people go through.
Right. I mean, that's a great reason to do it, right? And we often talk about leaders and leadership, and I think the way I view leadership and leaders is oftentimes it's that mentality and that personality of wanting to give back is what makes a great leader. And there's an old saying, and I can't remember where I got it from. It says, "He stands tallest who stoops to help another." I mean, I firmly believe that too, and so that's an interesting sort of segue, kind of into our next question. And I talked a little bit about your background with coaching. So we talked a little bit about that. But as somebody who took your Create coaching program, and all the stuff that was in there, it really opened my eyes to, business and leadership. And so, what do you think is the most important thing for any business owner? Because we talked about the focus of this session is going to be, can coaching help your small business? Right. And how do you think it can?
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, it absolutely can, and it has helped me. I've had coaches along the way. I've had some good ones, and I've had some not so good ones. So
Right.
coaching can definitely help. It has to be the right. Listen, there's tons of us out there, like thousands. So it has to be same thing like in your space too, in the marketing space, right? It has to
Hmm.
be the right connection. It has to be the right fit.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's huge.
it is huge, especially with coaching, whether it's business coaching or marketing coaching or any kind of coaching. It really needs to be a connection between the two, and and the coachee, the business owner in this case, really needs to be open. Um, they say in the coaching world, they need to be coachable, right?
I think
Which
that's a big
means
thing.
it is a big thing, and you know that, right? I mean, just from what you do as well. And they just need to be coachable. They need to be open to trying different things and open to being open for themselves. Because here's the thing: I don't coach the business.
No.
People say, "Oh, you're a business coach, leadership coach, business coach." I coach business owners. I
Right.
don't coach the business. I coach business, the owner, the person.
That's interesting you say that. I had an experience with a client where I think I realized um, that I needed to change my approach and also be open to that I wasn't going to just do marketing work for the client. The client could do the work. I
Mhm.
had to change how I viewed the client in that relationship, and be open to being coachable myself in order to help this client, and
Mhm.
realizing that the person didn't really need necessarily direction, because sometimes when I do marketing related stuff, I do the nitty gritty work, right? Like I do the tactics, right? Like I do the end work. Like I write content, or I do this, or I do this. And I don't think this particular person needed that, and I thought they did, and so I kind of had to change my approach to approach them. And what they actually needed me to do was to motivate them, right, and just help them, kind of gently remind them, you got to do this stuff today, and you got to do that stuff today, and you got to think about it this way. So yeah, it's definitely. I think when you're trying to help others and you start a business, you have to be open to um, also being coached yourself, and also realizing that you need to take a step back and actually learn, like actually look at the relationship in a different way than not just, oh, the client's paying me money to do work. Sometimes you got to be like, well, yeah, but what does the person really need? You know, right?
Yep.
And I learned that lesson from dealing with a client, and I've kind of changed my approach now to down the road to and you've helped me do it, to offering stuff to people who need more coaching than actually doing the work. So that was an
For
eye
sure.
opener for me. Um, so one of the ones I always ask is, when working with a new client, how do you get started with them? Like, what does a client do? Do they start with the business assessment, or do they start with just a general meeting, or how does it work?
That's a great question. It, and here's the famous answer: it all depends. Um,
Of course. What's your budget?
depends. Um, exactly. No, again, so everyone's at a different space,
Right.
or in a different place, different space, so on and so forth. So I
Right.
really, and again, it's the individual. So we all always start. All right, I always start where the client is. So I help them gain, because we're all, listen, you're in the business, I'm in business, many of your viewers are in business, and we all get caught up in the day to day. So I really help my clients first at the beginning slow down. You've heard me say slow down in order to speed up. Slow down. Let's see where you're currently at. Okay, so this is where the business gap assessment comes in, but
Right.
it's really all about getting clarity. Not clarity where you're at,
Hmm.
where you want to get to, and then figuring out what that gap is and making a plan to close that gap. Um, and it's different for everyone,
Right.
but the starting point is the same. It's wherever they currently are.
Right.
And
Okay.
then also getting clarity over some of the blind spots, like what are they not seeing? And that's where a
Hmm.
coach really is really, really powerful, even like what you do as well, because you're coaching, encouraging around the marketing area.
Hmm.
And we have blind spots as small business owners. We're in there doing, as Michael Gerber says, in the E-Myth, which is one of the best business books ever.
It is one of the best. Someone recommended it to me last year. The E-Myth Revisited. I have had such profound revelations about running a business, looking at how others run a business. And my biggest fear, if people have read the book, is to not just become a technician in a business. Because that's the day-to-day work, being a technician, right? It's just like you do the day-to-day work, but you don't realize that. And I'll explain the E-Myth quickly. You've got the entrepreneur, you've got the manager, and you've got the technician. And I think a lot of people think in a business, and I know I did, that they've got to be that, or that they are one of those roles. They're not realizing they've got to be all three in the same day at the same time. And that's what the book did for me. I was like, yeah, right. Because I got to figure out how to manage the day-to-day, like cash flow and clients and meetings, but I also need to do the actual work. And then I also need to have vision about where I'm going to go down the road, right? Like, where am I going to? What's my plan? You taught me a lot about clarity. Clarity is huge. I almost need to read my clarity document or my why every day sometimes, because I just get so lost in running stuff that I don't remember all the other stuff.
Well, and actually that's why we in the CREATE program, or even in my private coaching, I'm very, very, the foundation is the why.
Right.
The why and the why we talk about, right? And so you said you read it, sometimes you read it every day. That's why it's there, because we forget why we do this. And listen, crap happens. Pandemic, recessions from the pandemic. We get sick. Our kids get sick. We have issues with our kids. We have issues with our significant other. Life happens, right? Whatever. And we can have we can have a date timer and a goal planner and the best intentions at the beginning, January 1st. I can go on forever about the stuff, but we have the best intentions, and then life happens. So coming back to that why, reading it, living it, understanding it is huge, because it's what helps you wake up. It's why do you get up every morning and do what you do? And that's the why.
I'm just going to drop all your info here in the chat as well, and drop mine so people can see who you are. And I know it's in the Facebook event when we scheduled the live, but I've included a link to Marshall's website, marshallstern.net, if you haven't seen it. Couple of plugs too. Marshall runs Connect and Collaborates on Wednesdays, Small Business Owners of BC on Facebook, and the Business Inner Circle on Facebook. And so there's Connect and Collaborate on Wednesdays, which I'm a regular participant of. I think it's a great thing we're doing there. It's not a high pressure sales tactic. It's not a BNI group. There's no need to feel like you've got to show up and sell or get leads, but it inevitably leads to the kind of conversations like we're having today, right? So what do you tell small business owners who want to get started, or how to think about how coaching can help their business? Because people often don't realize that they need coaching, right? I know I didn't. I just thought I could just run this business thing or do whatever I was doing, and maybe it was a weakness. I just well, I don't need a coach. I'm a marketing expert, right? Or, well, I'm not an expert, but
Okay. Everyone, I don't care where you're at in your business, everyone could use a coach.
Right.
Every business owner could use a coach. It doesn't have to be me, but they could use a coach.
Right.
You just look at the athletes, professional athletes. The best of the best have coaches, right? So it doesn't matter how successful you are. If you want to get to the next level, you can use a coach. A coach will really help you. And it doesn't have to be in the sense of a one-on-one coach every single week, or these intensives or whatever. It can be. A coach could be part of, like you were part of our CREATE program, a group coaching program.
Right.
A coach could be showing up in a different way. Sometimes a coach or a mentor, it's slightly different, can be the same. I do both. Can be someone that you're just really follow online. Maybe you take one of their programs and you don't have direct contact with them, but they're coaching along the way, saying, here's the next step, and it's training and that sort of thing, an online program. Um, I can't remember what your question was because I just went off on a tangent.
Well,
But I think
because the focus of the talk was, can coaching help small business owners? I was trying to sort of, well, I was giving you a plug, but I was also saying, how do you tell small business owners to get started to think about how coaching can help their business? Because it's really hard to
okay,
think about something, right? Like, I mean, people have to
right,
come to that realization themselves. You know, it's not a they don't often realize that they need something, and maybe that only comes, that need of something or that want of something, when they failed, or when they're
right.
struggling, or when they're you know not doing what they want to do, or they're not achieving what they want to achieve, or I don't know. i'm
Yep.
I'm trying to think of the best way to frame it.
No, there's okay. So here's how I look at it. Because as I say, I've had coaches all along the way, different kinds. Um, if you okay, there's the gap, right? If you're
Right.
here and you want to get here, I'm just not quite sure, or you're not getting there fast enough, a coach can help you. If your revenue is not where you want to be, a coach can help you. If
Right.
you are just stuck inside your head, if you well, here's another thing. If you're stuck in your business, like going back to the myth, and you don't, and you're missing time with your family. This is why I started coaching. I
Right.
even forgot to mention that. This is why I really got into coaching. Here's a quick thing. So I've always built my business, or I built my sign graphics business from day one, or actually day five, really. There's a story behind that, uh, around freedom. So I could go, I didn't have kids at the time. 94, I didn't have kids. My daughter was born in 2002. But I built it so that I can have freedom from the business. So when my daughter was born and my son a few years later, I was able to go to her ballet recitals, soccer games, my son's soccer games. My son didn't do ballet, although he did wear a ballet skirt during my daughter's birthday, which I have on camera, which I'm going to show him when he gets married. Um, but I built the business so that I could be there. And when I'd
Right.
go to these recitals, I would be one of the only dads.
Right.
And I didn't like that. So my original reason for starting the coaching was to help small businesses, primarily fathers. That was originally the reason I started, or part of the reason I started, to build their business, build some freedom in their business so they can spend time with their family or do the things they want to do. And it's ironic, but 90% of my clients right now are female,
Hmm.
because a lot of the men just don't see that, and
Interesting.
it didn't seem to be important enough to them, or they didn't resonate with my message. um, and
Interesting.
yeah, yeah.
Do you think
So
there's a I was going to say, do you think there's a trade-off too? Because I think part of the trade-off is people start a business because they want the freedom, but do they
mhm,
often not see? And learned, or I'm trying to think of the best way to articulate it. I've learned to see it, or I've learned to understand it, or I've learned to do whatever. Uh, the trade-off for that freedom is the sacrifice that you're always on the hook running a business, and there's going to be lots of lean times when you don't have many clients and not much money, right? Like, there is a
mhm,
trade-off, right? Because you don't work for a company, and I've done this too, and hey, you get up 9 to 5, you go to work in an office, you get a paycheck. So people come and work for your sign and graphics business, right? But if you're the
mhm.
business owner, and you have that freedom and flexibility, the trade-off is, you're on the hook all the time, right?
Oh, big time. I mean, um, it's one of the biggest things is most of us, why do we go into business, right? You said because we want more freedom. We want to be our own boss, make our own hours,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And what happens, and I think even Michael Gerber talks about this, is we end up going to work for ourselves. We end up
Right.
going to work for really some crazy boss who doesn't allow us any vacation time, and we're our own boss. And because our our we allow our company or our business to be everything for us.
Yeah.
7 o'clock at night, we're on our phone. 7:30 at night, we're replying to emails. We're working on a client project, and so we thought we would have freedom, the kids are wanting to spend time with you, and yet here we are, because our business is our business, and,
Yeah.
and the buck stops with us.
Yeah.
We always work. We think we have freedom, so we have freedom to work when we want, but we don't do that, right? It's kind of
well, not just that we have freedom and we work when we want, but you're going to have to work a lot of times when you don't want, because you're on the hook, right? And
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that I learned where it's just like, oh right, so I'm working at Sunday at 8 o'clock at night. Why am I doing that? Well, I'm trying to find other ways to get revenue for my business besides my own clients, because I offer copyright services, right? So I've got to do a project for somebody, or I have to identify some places I could do writing for, or things like that. Or I'm working on preparing for a Facebook Live like this, because I like to be organized on the weekend, when a lot of people would be like, yeah, done work for the week, just taking it easy, sit in front of the TV or whatever. And that's fine. Like I've lived that lifestyle, right? So I've had a lot of eye-opening moments as I've come to move to, being my own business owner, entrepreneur. And I don't know if anybody could ever teach you or tell you that prior to actually doing it.
No, they can't. But I think it's becoming more known, and unfortunately, with the pandemic and so many people working remote, employees working remote, they too are falling into this trap, because it's not an 8-hour day anymore. It's a 24-hour day. So they might go for a walk, they might go skiing in the afternoon, or or whatever, binge watch Netflix, but then at 10 o'clock at night they're working. So, and it's affecting them emotionally, it's affecting their social life, their family life. And so it's not just with small business owners anymore. But the difference is, as a small business owner, it's awesome, because if you do the right things, and you really know what you want to create, the business you want to create, you can build the team, you can build the systems around you that will allow you. It might not be today, maybe it's tomorrow, that will allow you to take that 3-week vacation and not miss a beat, right? Or go to your daughter's dance recital at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and not worry about anything with your business, because it's being taken care of. That's why I do what I do.
Right.
That's why I do what I do.
All right. Well, thank you. We said half an hour, and you have the Create program to teach at 11. So
the other thing, Ben,
go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, you're my Robin, which your viewers might not understand that. Which we
I don't think I have the picture. Maybe I can throw it up while we're chatting.
Yeah. I want to mention one other thing, is that it's interesting, because I just came off of, I haven't watched it all, but Tony Robbins had this 5-day breakthrough challenge. And Tony Robbins is great at what he does. And he does his UPW, he's Unleashed the Power Within, he does his Date of Destiny, he does these 3 to 5 day intensives, all these crazy things where you just get broken down and raw and build you back up. One of the things I'm trying to do, and this is what coaches can really help with, coaches and mentors can really help with. There's no shortage of books out there.
Oh no, the information.
The information's out there. I mean, the E-Myth really, for a book, is one of the best.
Yeah, it is.
A few of them I would recommend: Magic of Thinking Big, E-Myth. Just a few. You can go to a Tony Robbins event; it'll be transformative. Right. You can go to this person's event; it'll be transformative. You could take my Create program; it would be transformative in that time. The challenge is, when we finish the book, when we finish the program, in many cases where you go to a seminar, like a 1-day seminar, and you're all pumped up and you're all motivated and hyped, what happens the next day or a couple of days later?
Yeah.
That's why you'd asked me the question earlier, that's where a coach or a mentor, or even if it's an accountability partner who is on the same path as you and will hold you accountable and push you, that's where that will help, because we're all alone as business owners, and we shouldn't be.
I never realized that too, that you're alone. It's interesting.
Yeah, so I just want to throw it in there.
Oh no, I think it's great. There's lots of things we can talk about. We could probably talk about for at least another hour, but for the sake of a Facebook Live, and the nature of what we're talking about, you could sit here droning on for hours and hours, but it's not really exciting for everybody watching or people coming in and after. So thank you again. I've left the chat has comments with some contact info on Marshall. I'll repost this through our Facebook channel and some other Facebook channels. And we'll go ahead and actually share this out again, the actual talk with the link post-event in some of the groups I mentioned for Small Business Owners of BC on Facebook, for the Business Inner Circle on Facebook, and take the chance and opportunity to come on Wednesday to connect and collaborate. I think you'll be surprised how great that is. And we'll head on out. Thank you, Marshall.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Great. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.